Hello, this is Christian Piano, and welcome to your Reset Reflections. Today's reflection is on bandaids, and we'll be talking about bandaids on many levels today. So let's just start off with what is a bandaid and why do we use it? So a Band-Aid is like a bandage. It's something you place over a cut. And we use Band-Aids primarily to protect the cut. So when we get a cut, most of us take the wound healing for granted. I mean, if you get a cut, you may clean it and cover it with a Band-Aid or a bandage, and you move on with your life. Yet, under that bandage, or in the open air, the body orchestrates a complex cascade of events designed to heal. So what's the first thing that happens? The body works to stop the bleeding. There's a clumping of blood cells, which creates a clot that protects the wound, and it turns into scabs. Then the second thing that occurs is inflammation. Once the scab is formed, the blood vessels can open a bit to allow fresh nutrients and oxygen into the wound for healing. And the right amount of oxygen is extremely important. And then the white blood cells take on the role of wound protector, fighting infection and overseeing the repair process. Then the third step is growth and rebuilding. So blood cells, including the red oxygenated blood cells, arrive to build new tissues. There are chemicals, signals that instruct cells to create collagen, which serves as a type of scaffolding, and other tissues to begin the repair process. And last but not least, there's the strengthening. And this occurs over time as the new tissue gets stronger. So fundamentally, the main system within your body that is being used in this process is the immune system. So what does this all have to do with body-mind well-being? Well, each of us in our lives reach for band-aids literally and figuratively. So what I just spoke to was a very literal Band-Aid. And now we'll move into the more figurative sense. So whether it's a literal or figurative use of a Band-Aid, Band-Aids are used to protect. And Band-Aids, in a figurative sense, could be equated, if you'd like, as something like a coping mechanism. And what do we need coping mechanisms for in life? Well, whether they're conscious or unconscious, they support us in adjusting or adapting in the hopes that there's a decrease in tension and anxiety, a reduction of unpleasant emotions, physical sensations, pain or discomfort, on an emotional, physical, maybe even spiritual level, depending on one's stress levels and the situation one finds oneself in. So let's think of some common bandaids that many people use. One could be food, sex, alcohol, drugs, sports, shopping, social networking, overscheduled schedules, no time to breathe, overscheduled schedules, work. All of these, just to name a few, are common coping mechanisms. So it could be useful if you pause for a moment. And obviously, it's going to depend on the context. But you can choose a context in your life, whether it be work, relationship with yourself, relationship like a marriage, a partner, a child, a boss, an in-law, sister, brother, a friend. You choose the context, you choose the relationship, whether it be with you or someone else. And when you find yourself in a situation that you're experiencing as stressful or creating an experience of anxiety or some type of discomfort or pain, what band-aid do you reach for? Just have a think. And how does this band-aid provide you with a sense of protection? What does it give you? You might want to pause for a moment as you write or think about this before continuing. But in any case, no matter what type of band-aid you use, what all band-aids have in common is temporary relief. It's a protective measure and brings some sort of temporary relief. And some band-aids are constructive and some not so much. But that's not the point of this conversation today. We want to suspend judgment, increase awareness through your own reflection for your own life, to support your body-mind well-being in the long run. You see, what's very important to remember that while a band-aid may be useful, it's important to not confuse the use of a band-aid as a protective measure as getting to the root cause of whatever pain or discomfort may be present on any level of your experience. And if you're really interested in healing, whether it be yourself and your relationship to yourself, or in another relationship where you're experiencing challenge, not only is it important to become aware of the patterns that may be present, it's then extremely useful to begin the work to get to the root cause. Why is there a need for the Band-Aid? That's when healing and growth can truly begin. So the first step is awareness. The second step may be reflection. And then the third step is taking a look, getting underneath, behind, below, to the root cause. You see, when you work on an ontological level regarding body, mind, well-being, you're not only looking at the patterns, you're wanting to get to the root of the pattern. What is it that is creating this repetitive experience that then leads you to reach for a particular kind of band-aid? So in a sense, you use your increased awareness around the patterns you're seeing, including the band-aids you reach for. You use them as a clue as you move inward. So curiosity needs to be present, and a dose of courage, honesty, self-love, self-care, compassion. And then you take baby steps. Now, it's not impossible to get at a root cause on one's own, but it can be extremely supportive to find a person with whom you can have a conversation, who will mirror for you and support you in discovering the root cause. So eventually, over time, you can put away your band-aids. So to tie this all up, whether you're using a band-aid literally or figuratively, band-aids are meant to create protection on the surface level so that healing can occur beneath. So the first step is always to stop the bleeding. So what can you use to support yourself in whatever you're navigating to stop the bleeding, to support clumping, so scars and scabs can appear? Inflammation is part of the process. So how can you support yourself or the relationship in receiving more oxygen, blood flow? What's necessary to support growth and rebuilding? What scaffolding will support this process? What are the actual steps that can be taken? And last but not least, there's the strengthening process, which occurs over new time as the new tissues grow stronger. So eventually, you can put the band-aids away. The protection is no longer needed. The healing has unfolded, and now new growth is possible. You may need to listen to this episode more than one time. Take your time in doing so. And as always, I love hearing from you and how this resonated. I do hope you found it supportive in whatever you're navigating. Please feel to share this with someone you think it may prove supportive of. Like or follow.